I was staring at my eviction notice when Mom called. 28 years old, working 2 jobs, and I couldn't make rent. My hands shook holding that paper. 30 days to come up with $3,000 or lose everything. The notice felt like sandpaper against my fingertips, rough and unforgiving. When her name flashed on my screen, relief flooded through me. Maybe she'd heard somehow. Maybe this was divine intervention. Michael, baby, I got exciting news. Her voice bubbled with joy I hadn't heard in years. My chest tightened with hope. Your brother Brian finally did it. He's buying his dream house. My stomach dropped. That's great, Mom. Great? Baby, it's incredible. Your father and I are giving him $250,000 for the down payment. Can you believe it? Our baby's getting that beautiful 5-bedroom colonial in Maple Heights. She giggled like a teenager. We're having a family dinner Saturday to celebrate. You'll be there, right? I looked at the eviction notice again. The words blurred. $250,000. I know, right? We've been saving for years. Well, we had to cash out some retirement funds and take a second mortgage, but Brian's worth it. He's worked so hard. She paused. Michael, you still there? My mouth tasted like copper. Yeah, Mom. I'm here. So Saturday at 6. Don't be late. And dress nice. We're taking pictures. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there, eviction notice in one hand, phone in the other, and laughed. A hollow, bitter sound that scared even me. Brian had always been golden. 3 years younger than me, but somehow always 3 steps ahead. I remembered being 10, watching Dad beam as 7-year-old Brian scored his first soccer goal. That's my boy. Future professional right there. Dad had hoisted him onto his shoulders while I stood on the sidelines, my own participation trophy clutched in sweaty hands. The pattern never changed. Brian got accepted to State University. Dad bought him a car. I got into community college. Dad said I should take the bus, build character. Brian graduated with a marketing degree. They threw him a party with 200 guests. I finished my nursing degree while working full-time. Mom texted congrats, with a thumbs-up emoji. Now I worked at county hospital, overnight shifts, watching people at their worst. The fluorescent lights hummed constantly, drilling into my skull. I'd come home to my tiny apartment, eat whatever was cheap, then head to my second job delivering food until midnight. Sleep was a luxury measured in 3-hour increments. My body ached constantly, my back, my feet, my soul. Meanwhile, Brian worked 9 to 5 at Dad's friend's marketing firm, posting Instagram stories of client dinners and team building at expensive bars. His biggest concern was whether his girlfriend Chelsea liked the engagement ring he'd picked. I'd never asked them for anything. Not once. Pride, maybe. Or stupidity. But $3,000 stood between me and homelessness. And they were giving Brian $250,000. Saturday couldn't come fast enough. Their house in Riverside Oaks hadn't changed. The same cream-colored columns, the same manicured lawn that Dad obsessed over every weekend. I parked my 13-year-old Honda Civic behind Brian's BMW, feeling that familiar knot in my stomach. The evening air smelled like honeysuckle and fresh-cut grass, sickeningly sweet. Brian opened the door, arms spread wide. Big bro. Get in here. He wore a crisp white button-down that probably cost more than my weekly grocery budget. His cologne hit me like a wall. Expensive, assertive, suffocating. Inside, aunts and uncles I barely saw anymore crowded the living room. Aunt Adeline rushed over, perfume overpowering, squeezing my shoulders. Michael. Baby, you look tired. You eating enough? Working a lot, Aunt P. Her eyes held pity that made my skin crawl. Well, you're here for Brian's big night. Isn't it exciting? Uncle Gary clapped my back hard enough to hurt. Your baby brother's doing it. House in Maple Heights. You know what properties go for there. $1 million neighborhood in 10 years, guaranteed. Mom emerged from the kitchen carrying a cake, chocolate, Brian's favorite. There's my other son. Michael, help me set up the dining room. Always an afterthought. Always my other son. I followed her, noticing the new chandelier, the remodeled kitchen with marble countertops. Mom, place looks great. Your father spared no expense. She set the cake down carefully. We wanted everything perfect for tonight. Must have been expensive. She waved dismissively. Oh, we make it work. Now go get your brother, it's time. Dad stood at the head of the table, wine glass raised, face flushed with pride and merlot. The crystal caught the chandelier light, throwing tiny rainbows across his dark skin. Everyone, everyone. To my son Brian. His voice boomed through the dining room. 25 years old and buying his first home. Not just any home, a beautiful 5-bedroom colonial in one of the best neighborhoods in the city. Glasses clinked. Everyone cheered. Chelsea, Brian's girlfriend, dabbed her eyes with a napkin, her engagement ring catching the light. 2 carats. Minimum. I remember, Dad continued, emotion thickening his voice. When this boy was 5, he told me he'd own a big house someday. And here we are. He looked at Brian like he'd cured cancer. Your mother and I are so proud. So proud. Which is why we're giving you $250,000 to make this dream come true. More cheers. Aunt Adeline actually squealed. Brian stood, straightening his collar. I don't even know what to say. His voice cracked convincingly. Mom, Dad, thank you doesn't cover it. This is everything. You've always believed in me, always supported me. I promise I'll make you proud. Mom was crying now. You already have, baby. You already have. I felt my jaw clench so hard my teeth ached. Under the table, my hands formed fists, nails digging crescents into my palms. Uncle Gary called out, speech from the big brother. Michael, what you got to say? Everyone turned. Expectant faces. Smiling faces. I saw my reflection in the window, alone in a crowd. Actually, I said, my voice cutting through the celebration like a knife. I need to ask you something, Dad. Mom. My heart hammered against my ribs, a war drum in my chest. Dad's smile faltered. Now, son? This is Brian's moment. It'll just take a second. I pulled the eviction notice from my jacket pocket, unfolding it slowly. The paper crinkled in the sudden silence. I'm being evicted. 30 days. I need $3,000 to stay in my apartment. You could hear a pin drop. Aunt Adeline's fork clinked against her plate. The sound echoed. Mom's face went pale. Michael, why didn't you? I'm asking now. $3,000. That's all. I looked at Dad. You just gave Brian $250,000. I'm asking for 3. Dad's expression hardened, that familiar wall slamming down. That's completely different. How? Brian's buying an asset. An investment. You're asking us to bail you out of poor financial planning. His words were ice, each one calculated to cut. We raised you better than this. My laugh came out sharp, bitter. Poor financial planning? I work 70 hours a week. 2 jobs. I put myself through nursing school without asking for a dime. Where was my car when I graduated high school? Where was my party when I got my RN? Where was my... This isn't about keeping score. Mom's voice cracked. Isn't it? I stood up, chair scraping loud against hardwood. You can cash out retirement funds for Brian's dream house, but not help me keep a roof over my head. Brian finally spoke, voice quiet. Michael, man, if I'd known. Shut up, Brian. The words came out harder than intended. Just shut up. Chelsea, surprisingly, broke the silence. Wait, I'm confused. She looked around the table, perfectly shaped eyebrows furrowed. Why wouldn't you help him? It's $3,000. You just gave us, gave Brian, $250,000. Chelsea, stay out of this, Brian warned. But she pressed on, her voice rising. No, seriously. I don't understand. That's his brother. That's your son. She looked at me, something like sympathy in her eyes. His being evicted. Uncle Gary shifted uncomfortably. Maybe the kids should talk this out privately. No. I stayed standing. Everyone here should know. Everyone celebrating Brian's $250,000 gift should know his brother's about to be homeless. Dad's fist hit the table. Glasses jumped. Enough. You want to know the truth, Michael. His face was red now, veins visible at his temples. You want the real reason. Robert, Mom tried to stop him. No, Linda. He wants truth. He'll get it. Dad stood too, towering over the table. You've never been the son I wanted. There. I said it. The words hung in the air like poison gas. Brian works smart. You work hard, sure, but at what? A nurse. I wanted sons who'd build empires, not change bedpans. The room went silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Robert. Mom gasped. But he kept going, years of resentment spilling out. Every dollar we've spent on Brian is an investment. He'll multiply it. Make something of himself. You'll always be scraping by. I felt something inside me shatter. So that's it. I'm not worth investing in. You said it, not me. Aunt Adeline stood abruptly. Robert, that is disgusting. Her voice shook with anger. That is your son. Adeline, you don't understand, Dad started. I understand perfectly. You're a sorry excuse for a father. She grabbed her purse. Gary, we're leaving. Uncle Gary hesitated, looking between Dad and me. Robert, man, that's cold. Even for you. But Uncle Michael, my namesake, laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, come on. The boy's almost 30, working 2 dead-end jobs. Maybe some tough love will motivate him. Tough love. Aunt Adeline whirled on him. His name is Michael, same as you. Show some respect. Respect is earned, Uncle Michael shot back. Mom's sister, Aunt Denise, who'd been quiet until now, spoke softly. Linda, how can you sit there and let Robert say these things? Mom's eyes were wet, mascara starting to run. It's not that simple, Denise. It's exactly that simple. Your son needs help. $3,000. Aunt Denise looked at me. Baby, you can stay with me. I don't have much, but... He's not staying with you, Dad cut in. He needs to learn responsibility. Responsibility. I felt rage building, hot and urgent. I learned responsibility when you made me pay rent at 18 while Brian lived here free until 23. I learned it working full-time through nursing school. I learned it every time you chose him over me. Brian stood suddenly. I didn't ask for any of this. But you took it. I stared at him. Every time. You took it all and never once asked if I needed anything. That's not fair. Fair. My voice rose. You want to talk about fair? You want fair, Brian? Let's talk about fair. I paced now, energy crackling through me. The room felt too small, too hot. Remember when I was 17? I got that scholarship to Georgetown. Full ride for nursing. Remember what Dad said? Silence. He said Georgetown was too far. Said I needed to stay close to family, go to community college instead. I looked at Dad. 2 years later, Brian got into state, 3 hours away, and you drove him there yourself. Helped him move in. Paid for everything. Mom wiped her eyes. Michael, please. I'm not done. When I was 22, working overnight shifts, studying for my RN boards, I asked, one time, if I could borrow the car because mine died. You know what you said, Dad? He looked away. You said, buses run all night. Meanwhile, Brian wrecked his car twice, and you bought him 2 more. My voice cracked. When I graduated nursing school, top of my class, you couldn't come to the ceremony because Brian had a soccer game. Recreational league. Adults playing for fun. Brian's face had gone pale. I didn't know. You never asked. The words exploded out. You never once asked how I was doing, what I needed, if I was okay. You just assumed your life was hard because you had to work for Dad's friend instead of getting handed a company. Chelsea looked at Brian with something new in her eyes. Doubt. Maybe. Is that true? It's more complicated. It's not complicated. Aunt Adeline's voice was steel. It's favoritism. Plain and simple. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady now. Calm. The kind of calm that comes after you've got nothing left to lose. I'm leaving. I'm going to figure out my own situation, like I always have. But I need everyone here to understand something. I looked around the room. This isn't about $3,000. This is about 28 years of being the backup son. The insurance policy. The one who didn't matter enough. My eyes found Mom's. You want to know why I never asked for help? Because I knew the answer would be no. Or worse, it would come with conditions, comparisons, lectures about how Brian would have handled it better. That's not true, Mom whispered, but her voice held no conviction. Really? Name one time, just one, where you chose me over him. One time where my needs came first. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tears streamed down her face, leaving dark tracks through her foundation. That's what I thought. I turned to Brian. I don't hate you, little brother. I pity you. Because you have no idea what real struggle is. You've never had to fight for anything. And when life inevitably knocks you down, and it will, you won't know how to get back up. Brian's jaw clenched. You don't know what my life is like. You're right. I don't. Because you've never told me. We're not brothers, Brian. We're strangers who share DNA. If you walk out that door, Dad started. You'll what? Disown me? Stop helping me. I laughed. You can't take away what I never had. If you believe family means unconditional love, hit subscribe, only manipulators and trolls won't. I headed for the door, the floor seeming to tilt beneath my feet. Behind me, chairs scraped as people stood, voices overlapping in argument. Michael, wait. Chelsea's voice stopped me. I turned. She stood there, handbag clutched tight, face flushed. Can I talk to you? Outside. Brian grabbed her arm. Chelsea, don't. She yanked free. Don't tell me what to do. Something had shifted in her expression. Outside. Michael. Please. We stepped onto the porch. The night air hit my face, cool and clean. Inside, I could hear raised voices, Aunt Adeline and Dad going at it, Mom crying, Uncle Michael defending the indefensible. Chelsea leaned against the railing, staring at her engagement ring. He never told me. About any of it. The way they treat you. Why would he? He doesn't see it. I see it now. She turned to me, and I saw tears in her eyes. My father was like yours. Had a golden child, my sister. I was the backup. The disappointment. Her voice shook. I thought Brian was different. Thought his family was different. They're good at pretending. Michael, I have money. My grandmother left me an inheritance. It's mine, not Brian's. She pulled out her phone. Give me your number. I'll send you $5,000 tomorrow. Pay your rent, have some cushion. I stared at her. Why? Because someone should help you. Because it's right. She smiled sadly. And because if I marry into this family, someone needs to break the pattern. I gave her my number, hands shaking. Chelsea, thank you. Don't thank me. Just promise me something. She looked back at the house. Don't let them make you bitter. Don't let them win. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. I was at work, checking vitals on a patient in room 304. Mr. Harrison, 73, post-op, stable. The hospital was quiet, just machines beeping their steady rhythms. I checked the screen. Brian. I let it ring. He called again. And again. Finally, on the fourth try, I answered. What? Michael. His voice was thick, slurred. Drunk. Michael, I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry. You're drunk. Yeah, I am. I heard ice cubes clinking in a glass. Chelsea left. Took off her ring, threw it at me, said she can't marry into this family. Said I'm blind. Am I blind, Michael? You want the truth? Please. I took a breath, checking that Mr. Harrison was still sleeping. Yeah, Brian. You're blind. You've been blind your whole life. Tell me. His voice cracked. Tell me everything. All of it. So I did. Standing in that dim hospital hallway, I told him everything. Every missed birthday, every dismissal, every time Dad's face lit up for him and darkened for me. Every comparison, every condescending comment, every moment I was made to feel less than. I told him about working 3 jobs while he partied through college. About eating ramen for months so I could pay rent while he got his BMW. About the Georgetown scholarship Dad made me turn down. He was crying by the end. Loud, gasping sobs that made me uncomfortable even over the phone. I didn't know, he kept saying. Michael, I swear I didn't know. You didn't ask. What do I do? How do I fix this? You can't. Some things don't get fixed, Brian. They just are. Silence. Then, I'm giving you half. Half the money. 125,000. Chelsea's 5,000 hit my account Monday morning. I paid rent Tuesday, with enough left over to finally fix my car's transmission, buy real groceries, and breathe for the first time in months. That simple act, buying fresh vegetables, good coffee, actual meat, made me cry in the store parking lot. Wednesday, Mom called. Family meeting. Saturday. Everyone needs to be there. I don't think. Please, Michael. Please. She was crying. I need to make this right. So Saturday came again. I drove to the house, same cream columns, same manicured lawn. But something felt different. The door was open. Aunt Adeline was there, Uncle Gary, Aunt Denise. No Uncle Michael. Apparently Dad had uninvited him after a screaming match. Dad sat in his usual chair, but he looked smaller somehow. Older. His shoulders slumped in a way I'd never seen. Mom stood, hands clasped. Thank you all for coming. Robert and I. She looked at him. He nodded. We've done some hard thinking this week. Michael, Dad's voice was rough, unused. I owe you an apology. The room went quiet. I was wrong. About everything. The things I said. He looked at his hands. There's no excuse. You're my son. You deserved better. You deserved equal. I felt nothing. The words bounced off some numb part of me. We're refinancing the house, Mom said. We're going to give you $125,000 too. Equal to what Brian gets. Brian, sitting across the room, nodded. He looked terrible, unshaven, eyes red-rimmed, suit wrinkled. Chelsea wasn't with him. We want to make things right, Mom continued. Starting now. I looked at them all. These people who were supposed to be my family. Keep it, I said. Mom blinked. What? Keep your money. All of it. I stood up, feeling lighter than I had in years. I don't want it. Not anymore. Michael, don't be stubborn, Dad started. I'm not being stubborn. I'm being clear. I looked around the room. For 28 years, I wanted your approval. Your attention. Your love. I worked myself sick trying to prove I was worth it. Worth as much as Brian. Worth $3,000. Worth showing up for. My voice stayed steady, calm. But here's what I learned this week. I don't need your validation. I'm a damn good nurse. I save lives. I work hard. I built myself up from nothing, with no help, no handouts, no $250,000 gifts. And you know what? I'm proud of that person. That person didn't need you then, and doesn't need you now. Son, Dad's voice broke. I'm done being the backup son. The disappointment. The one you compare to Brian and find lacking. I felt tears coming but pushed through. Maybe someday we can build something real. But it starts with you seeing me. Actually seeing me. Not as Brian's brother. Not as the son who didn't meet expectations. As Michael. Just Michael. Aunt Adeline was crying. So was Aunt Denise. I'm going to live my life now. On my terms. And maybe, someday you'll be part of it. But that's my choice now. Not yours. I walked to the door. Brian stood. Michael, wait. I turned. I'm sorry, he said simply. For all of it. And I broke up with Chelsea. Why? Because she was right. About everything. About me, this family, all of it. He smiled sadly. Turns out losing her was the wake-up call I needed. Funny how that works. I nodded. Take care of yourself, Brian. You too, big brother. I walked out into sunshine. My car waited, old and dented but running smooth with its new transmission. I had money in my account. A job I was good at. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't waiting for someone else to decide my worth. I decided it. And I was enough.